Captain Ta Kim stood tall on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Protector *. His dark uniform fit perfectly on his strong body. Today was a day that would go down in history. After years of scanning the stars, humans had finally found proof they were not alone. "Sir, the alien ship is asking to dock," said Officer Mena, her eyes fixed on the screen. "Let them come," said Ta, "but keep all defense systems ready. We don't know if they come as friends." 3 generations ago, Earth had nearly destroyed itself in the resource wars. Since then, humans had spread across their solar system. They built homes on the Moon and Mars. They mined asteroids and set up research bases on distant moons. Progress had been fast. Maybe too fast. The alien ship was unlike anything humans had built. It looked like a giant white beetle with glowing blue lines running along its sides. "Captain, Admiral Han wants you in the meeting room," said Officer Mena. Ta nodded and left the bridge. As he walked through the hallways of the Protector *, he thought about what this meeting might mean for the future of humanity. The meeting room was bright and simple. A long table with chairs took up most of the space. Admiral Han, a man with gray hair and stern eyes, stood at the head of the table. "Captain Kim, good. They'll be here any minute," said Admiral Han. "Remember, we represent all of Earth today." Ta nodded. "Yes, sir." The door opened, and 3 tall beings walked in. They looked like giant praying mantises, with thin bodies, long limbs, and large faceted eyes. They wore what looked like armor made of a shiny blue metal. "Greetings," said the tallest one. Its voice sounded like several people talking at once. "I am Voshtal, Ambassador of the Galactic Coalition." Admiral Han bowed slightly. "Welcome to Earth space, Ambassador. I am Admiral Han of the Earth Defense Force." The aliens took seats across from the humans. Their movements were smooth but strange, like watching insects move in slow motion. "We have been watching your species for some time," said Voshtal. "Your development has been concerning." Ta felt a chill run down his spine. "Concerning?" asked Admiral Han. "In what way?" The alien's large eyes seemed to study each human carefully. "Your species advances too quickly. You are too aggressive, too unpredictable. The Coalition oversees all intelligent life in this sector of the galaxy. We ensure peace and stability." "And how do you do that?" asked Ta, speaking for the first time. "Through guidance and, when needed, intervention," said Voshtal. "Which brings me to the purpose of our visit. The Coalition demands that Earth halt all military development immediately and submit to Coalition oversight." The room went silent. Admiral Han's face showed no emotion, but Tai could see his hands tighten into fists under the table. "That is not a small request, Ambassador," said Admiral Han finally. "Humans have fought hard for our freedom and our right to protect ourselves." "It is not a request," said Voshtal. "It is what must happen. Your species is dangerous. Left unchecked, you could destabilize this entire sector." Ta felt anger rising in his chest. These aliens had just met humans, and already they were making judgments and demands. Admiral Han stood up slowly. "Ambassador Voshtal, we appreciate your visit, but I must be clear. We will maintain our sovereignty. We are willing to join the Coalition as equals, not as subjects. We will not give up our right to defend ourselves." The aliens stood as well. They seemed taller now, more threatening. "Consider carefully, Admiral," said Voshtal. "The Coalition does not ask twice. We will return in 6 of your months for your answer. But I advise you to make the wise choice. Other species who refused are no longer among the stars." As the aliens left, Ta looked at Admiral Han. "Sir, was that a threat?" Admiral Han's eyes were hard. "Yes, Captain Kim. I believe it was. And we need to be ready when they return." Ta nodded. "We'll be ready, sir." Neither of them knew just how ready humanity would need to be. 6 months passed quickly. Earth did not waste any time. The warning from the Vosh aliens pushed humans to work harder than ever before. Jun Park worked in his lab deep under the mountains. He had not slept more than 4 hours a night since the aliens left. Dark circles ringed his eyes, but excitement kept him going. On his screen, numbers and graphs showed the test results of his newest shield design. "It works," he said softly. Then louder, "It works." His assistant looked up from her own screen. "The energy absorption rate." "Yes," Jun said. "The shield now absorbs 80% of energy weapons and turns it into power for our own systems. We can use their attacks against them." Across the solar system, humans prepared. On the moon, workers built new defense bases in secret, deep under the gray dust. On Mars, huge underground factories made ships and weapons day and night. Captain Ta Kim, now leading Earth's new defense fleet, watched as crews loaded the latest weapons onto his ship. His comm unit beeped. "Captain Kim, please report to Defense Council meeting." "Urgent," said a voice. 30 minutes later, Tai sat at a large table with Earth's top military and political leaders. A young woman named Sun Li was speaking. She was the youngest member of the Global Defense Council, only 29 years old, but already known for her sharp mind. "We should still try to talk with them," Sun said. "War should be our last choice, not our first." Admiral Han shook his head. The Vosh made their position clear. "They want us to give up our freedom. That's not something we can negotiate." "I agree we can't give up our freedom," Sun said. "But we don't know much about this coalition. Maybe some of them would support our right to be free. We should try to learn more before we start shooting." Tai spoke up. "I think Counselor Li is right. We prepare for war, but we also try to talk. If they come in peace, they'll find friends. If they come for war, they'll find warriors," finished Admiral Han. "Very well. We prepare for both." The next day, scientists detected many ships entering the solar system. They were still far away, past Pluto, but coming straight for Earth. A message came through on all channels. "Your time to consider has ended. Prepare for integration." Admiral Han called an emergency meeting of Earth's leaders. They gathered in the underground command center in the Rocky Mountains. "They've made their choice," said Admiral Han. "Now we make ours." Sun Li looked around the table. "We must be clear about what we're doing. Once we fire the first shot, there's no going back." "They're the ones who threatened us," said Ta. "They're the ones coming to our home with demands." Admiral Han nodded. "Captain Kim is right. They started this, but we will finish it." He turned to the communication officer. "Send our response." The officer typed, and the simple message went out to the approaching alien fleet. "We warned you. Our sovereignty is non-negotiable." On Mars, General Du Han inspected the hidden missile platforms his people had built inside old volcanic caves. "Status report," he demanded. "All systems green." "Sir," said his second-in-command. "We can launch on your order." Du nodded. "Good. When the coalition passes Mars orbit, they'll get a surprise they won't forget." On the moon, Commander Min Lee checked the new shield generators. They looked like simple radio towers from the outside, but inside they held Jun Park's newest technology. "Power levels?" Min asked. 100%, Commander," said a technician. "The shields can go up instantly." In his lab, Jun Park put the finishing touches on a small device. It didn't look like much, just a metal box with a few buttons, but it might be the key to humanity's survival. "If this works," he told his assistant, "the aliens will wish they had never found Earth." Across the solar system, humans waited. Their ships were hidden. Their weapons were ready. Their resolve was unbreakable. The coalition ships moved closer, not knowing what waited for them. The real test of humanity was about to begin. The coalition ships entered the solar system like a swarm of angry hornets. They moved fast, heading straight for Earth. There were 30 large ships, each one bigger than anything humans had built. Commander Min Lee watched them from Lunar Defense Platform Alpha. The moon base looked small and weak from the outside. That was the plan. Let the aliens think the moon was an easy target. They're ignoring us, said Min's second-in-command. They're heading straight for Earth. Min nodded. Good. Let them think we're not important. On Earth, people looked up at the night sky with fear. The alien ships were now visible as bright moving stars. Schools closed. Many people left cities for the countryside. Admiral Han spoke to the world on all channels. Stay calm. We are ready. The Earth Defense Force will protect our planet and our freedom. In space, the coalition fleet suddenly split into 3 groups. The first group continued toward Earth. The second turned toward the moon. The third headed for Mars. They're smarter than we hoped, said Captain Todd Kim from his ship hidden behind Earth's moon. They're going to hit all our bases at once. The first shots came without warning. Green beams of light shot from the coalition ships heading to the moon. They hit the visible moon bases, turning them to dust. Min Lee pressed a button. Shields up, she ordered. Nothing seemed to happen. The moon bases were gone. But Min and her crew were safe, deep underground. And now Jun Park's new shields formed a bubble around the moon. The shields were clear, like glass, but stronger than steel. The aliens noticed too late. Their ships fired again, but now the green beams hit the shield and stopped. The energy spread across the shield like ripples in a pond. Shield holding at 95%, reported a technician. The energy absorption system is working. Min smiled. Power up our weapons. Let's show them what humans can do. From hidden doors in the moon's surface, missile launchers rose up. They fired at once, sending hundreds of missiles toward the alien ships. The coalition ships tried to turn away, but they were too slow. 3 exploded at once. 2 more spun out of control, damaged badly. At Mars, General Doohan watched as the second group of alien ships approached. Wait, he told his troops. Let them get closer. The alien ships moved into orbit around Mars. They started to land troops on the surface, near the human bases. Now, ordered Doo. From hidden bases on 2 of Mars' moons, Phobos and Deimos, human ships appeared. They were small and fast, built for hit-and-run attacks. They zoomed toward the coalition ships, firing as they came. At the same time, missile platforms hidden under Mars' red sand opened fire. The coalition ships, caught by surprise, had no time to raise their defenses. 2 more alien ships exploded. Another 3 were damaged badly. Near Earth, Captain Todd Kim led his small fleet out from their hiding place. All ships, attack pattern Delta, he ordered. Hit them hard and fast. The human ships, though smaller than the alien ones, were faster and more agile. They danced around the coalition ships, firing at weak spots. Another alien ship exploded. The rest began to pull back, retreating from Earth orbit. In the coalition command ship, the alien leader was shocked. How is this possible? He demanded. These humans were supposed to be primitive. His second-in-command had no answer. Back on Earth, people cheered as they watched the alien ships retreat. On screens around the world, they saw human ships chasing the aliens away. Admiral Han did not cheer. He knew this was just the beginning. They'll be back, he told Sun Lee. And next time, they'll bring more ships. Sun nodded. But now they know we can fight. They know humans aren't easy prey. In his lab, Jun Park didn't hear the cheers. He was already working on his next invention. We won a battle, he muttered to himself. But the war has just begun. On a distant planet, blue-green under twin suns, the Vosh leaders gathered in a large room. The walls were made of a strange metal that seemed to glow from within. High Commander Raz stood before the Coalition Council, his tall, mantis-like body rigid with anger. These humans, Ray said, his voice buzzing with rage, have destroyed 5 of our ships and damaged 8 more. He slammed his long, thin arm on the table. This is unacceptable. The council members shifted uncomfortably. They represented 12 different alien species, all part of the Galactic Coalition. Most had never known defeat. "How did this happen?" asked a small, gray alien with 3 eyes. "We were told humans were primitive." Rez's faceted eyes gleamed. "They hid their true strength. They have shields that can absorb our energy weapons. They have hidden bases and weapons platforms. They were ready for us." "Then we must bring more ships," said another council member, whose body was like a giant slug. "We must show these humans the true power of the Coalition." Back on Earth, Jin Su sat in a small dark room filled with screens and computers. She was Earth's best code breaker, and she had been working day and night to crack the Coalition's communication system. "I've got something," she said, her eyes wide with excitement. She pressed a button on her headset. "Get me Admiral Hand immediately." An hour later, the Earth Defense Council met in their underground bunker. The room was plain but secure, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. "Jin Su has broken their code," Admiral Han told the gathered leaders. "The Coalition is bringing more ships, many more." Images appeared on the big screen, showing hundreds of alien ships gathering near a distant star. "How many?" asked Sun Li, her face pale but determined. 300 ships at least," said Jin Su. 10 times what they sent before. They'll be here in 2 weeks." The room went quiet. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Could Earth survive such a massive attack? "What are our options?" asked Ta Kim. Jun Park stood up. The scientist looked tired, but his eyes were bright with the fire of discovery. "I've been improving our shield technology," he said. "The new shields can absorb 95% of their energy weapons and convert it to power for our own systems." "That will help," said Admiral Han. "But we need more ships." General Duhan spoke up from his video link on Mars. "The factories in the asteroid belt are working at full speed. We can have 50 more ships ready in 10 days. Not enough to match their fleet, but enough to put up a good fight." Sun Li had been quiet, thinking. Now she looked up. "We need to talk to them," she said. "Not to give up, but to buy time." "They won't listen," said Ta. "They made that clear." "Maybe not," said Sun. "But we need every advantage we can get. Even a few more days could mean more ships, more weapons." Admiral Han nodded slowly. "It's worth trying. Counselor Lee, prepare a message for the Coalition. Tell them we wish to discuss terms." As the meeting ended, Sun caught up with Admiral Han in the hallway. "You don't expect them to negotiate in good faith, do you?" she asked. "No," he admitted. "But while they're busy talking, we'll be busy preparing. Every minute counts now." In space, the human fleets practiced new battle plans. Ships darted between asteroids, learning to fight together in tight groups. On the Moon, Commander Min Lee supervised the building of more weapons platforms. On Mars, General Duhan's troops prepared for ground combat. In her lab on Earth, Jin Su made a surprising discovery. "These Coalition communications," she told her team, "show that not all the alien species agree with this war. Some think we should be left alone." "Could we use that?" asked her assistant. "Turn them against each other." Jin smiled. "That's exactly what I'm thinking." The Coalition fleet moved closer to Earth each day. The biggest battle in human history was coming. But this time, humanity would not just be fighting for survival. They would be fighting to win. Colonel Jun Kang stood on the bridge of his ship, the Red Guardian Asterisk. Through the window, he could see the red surface of Mars below. This was his home. He had been born in the underground cities of Mars, and he would fight to his last breath to protect it. "Sir, the Coalition fleet has been spotted," said his second-in-command. "They're heading straight for Mars. They're bypassing Earth's outer defenses." Jun nodded. "They're smarter this time. They want to take out our factories and shipyards first, then hit Earth." He looked at the screen showing his small fleet, just 30 ships against hundreds. The odds were bad, but Jun had no plans to run. "All ships, battle positions," he ordered. "Remember, we don't need to win. We just need to hold them long enough. Deep beneath the red soil of Mars, thousands of workers hurried to finish their secret project. In huge underground factories, they built small fighter drones by the hundreds. These drones were special. They carried June Park's newest shield technology and advanced AI systems that could think and fight on their own. How much more time do you need? Jun asked over the comm system. 2 hours minimum, replied the factory chief. The AI systems are still loading. Jun frowned. You might have 30 minutes. Make it work. In space, the Coalition fleet appeared. It was massive. Hundreds of ships spanning the black sky like a swarm of angry insects. Open fire, ordered June. The human ships fired their weapons. Bright beams of energy shot through space, hitting the front line of Coalition ships. The battle had begun. The Coalition ships returned fire. Green beams sliced through space. 2 human ships exploded at once. Evasive maneuvers, shouted June. Keep moving. Don't give them an easy target. His ships darted and weaved like fish in water, making themselves hard to hit. But there were too many enemy ships. One by one, the human vessels were hit. Sir, we've lost 10 ships already, reported his officer. We can't hold much longer. Jun's face was grim. We hold as long as we must. Any word from the surface? The first launch bays are ready, sir, but only half the drones are prepared. Launch them now, ordered June. Half is better than none. On the surface of Mars, huge doors hidden beneath the red sand slid open. From these holes, small fighter drones rose into the sky by the hundreds. The Coalition ships, focused on Jun's fleet, didn't notice the drones until it was too late. The small machines swarmed around the alien vessels, firing at weak points. They moved too fast to hit easily, and when hit, their shields absorbed the energy. More launch bays opened across Mars, releasing more drones. Soon, thousands of the small fighters were attacking the Coalition fleet. In his command ship, the Coalition leader watched in horror. What are these things? He demanded. Why can't we hit them? His weapons officer had no answer. Jun allowed himself a small smile as he watched the drones attack. But his smile faded as a warning light flashed on his control panel. His ship had been hit badly. Systems were failing. All crew to escape pods, he ordered. Abandon ship. Sir, what about you? Asked his second in command. The captain stays with his ship, said June. Now go. That's an order. As his crew fled in escape pods, Jun directed his dying ship straight at the largest Coalition vessel. He would make his final act count. The Red Guardian crashed into the Coalition command ship in a ball of fire. Both ships exploded, creating a bright new star in the Martian sky. When the battle ended, the Coalition fleet retreated. They had lost over 100 ships to the human drones and Jun's sacrifice, but they were not defeated, just bloodied. On Earth, Admiral Han received the news of the Battle of Mars with mixed feelings. They had won, but at great cost. Colonel Jun Kang was dead, along with many brave fighters. Prepare all defenses, he told his officers. Mars was just the beginning. They'll be coming for Earth next. High Commander Ra stood before the Coalition Council again. This time, his body shook with rage. The room was silent as all 12 alien species waited for him to speak. We have lost over 100 ships, Ray finally said, defeated by drones and shields that should not exist. These humans are more dangerous than we thought. A tall blue alien stood up. You have failed, Rai. You said this would be easy. I underestimated them, admitted Ra. But I will not make that mistake again. Perhaps, said the blue alien, we need new leadership for this war. The council voted quickly. Ray was removed from his position. In his place stood Commander Vex, a Vosh known for his cruel but effective tactics. I have studied these humans, said Vex, his voice cold and hard. They have one great weakness. They care for their weak ones, their children, their old, their sick. They will risk anything to protect them. He pointed to a map of the solar system. We will target their civilian colonies on Europa and Ganymede, not their military, their families. Some council members looked uncomfortable. That goes against coalition rules of war, one said. Rules. Vex laughed, a harsh sound like breaking glass. Rules are for those who can afford them. We are fighting for our future now. If humans are not stopped, they will spread across the galaxy. They will challenge us. They must be broken. On Earth, Jin Su worked through the night. She had intercepted new coalition messages, and what she found made her blood run cold. Admiral Han, she said when she entered the command center. The coalition has a new leader. They're planning to attack our civilian colonies. Admiral Han's face turned grim. How sure are you? I decoded 3 separate messages, said Jin. They're targeting Europa and Ganymede. Those are research stations and family housing, not military targets. Admiral Han called an emergency meeting of the Defense Council. They gathered in their hidden base in the Kuiper Belt, far beyond Pluto. It was the safest place now that the coalition was hunting for them. They're showing us who they really are, said Sun Li, her voice hard with anger. There can be no peace with those who target children. Can we evacuate the colonies? Asked Ta Kim. Admiral Han shook his head. Not in time. We need to send ships to defend them. That will spread our forces too thin, warned Ta. I know, said Admiral Han, but we can't abandon our people. As they debated, Jun Park burst into the room. The scientist looked like he hadn't slept in days, but his eyes were bright with excitement. I've done it, he said, placing a small metal device on the table. It was just a box with a few buttons and lights. It didn't look like much. Done what? Asked Admiral Han. I figured out how their ships move so fast between stars, said Jun. It's a kind of faster-than-light drive, and I've built one that works with our ships. The room went silent as everyone stared at the small device. Are you saying? Began Sun Li. Yes, said Jun. We can now travel between star systems. We're no longer trapped in our solar system. Ta Kim was the first to understand what this meant. We can take the fight to them, he said. Hit their worlds, their shipyards. Admiral Han nodded slowly. They think they have us cornered in our own solar system. They don't expect us to strike at their heart. As they spoke, news came in. Coalition ships had attacked Europa and Ganymede. The colonies had been completely destroyed. Thousands of civilians were dead. Admiral Han looked at each face around the table. They've made their choice, he said. Now we make ours. Captain Kim, take our best ships and crews. Go to their main shipyard at Proxima Centauri. Show them what happens when they bring war to humanity's doorstep. Ta stood up, his face set with determination. Yes, sir. They'll never know what hit them. As the meeting ended, Jun took Sun aside. There's something else, he said quietly. I found a weakness in their ships, a way to disable their weapons from a distance. Sun's eyes widened. That could change everything. Jun nodded. Let's hope it's enough. Captain Ta Kim stood on the bridge of his ship, the Avenger. Around him, 20 of Earth's best ships waited in formation. Each one now carried Jun Park's faster-than-light drive. All ships report ready, Captain, said his second-in-command. Ta nodded. Set coordinates for Proxima Centauri. Prepare to jump. No human had ever left the solar system before. They were about to make history, if the drives worked. Activate FTL drives on my mark, said Ta. He took a deep breath. 3, 2, 1, mark. A strange feeling passed through the ship, like everything was being stretched and then snapped back. The stars outside the window blurred, then changed position. Where the sun had been the biggest star in the sky, now a different star shone bright. We did it, whispered Ta. Status report. All ships present and accounted for, sir. We're in the Proxima Centauri system. Ta allowed himself a small smile. Jun Park's invention had worked. Humans could now travel between stars just like the Coalition. Scan for Coalition facilities, ordered Ta. The scans showed a massive shipyard orbiting the fourth planet. Dozens of half-built Coalition ships hung in space around it. Best of all, there were only a few defense ships guarding it. They don't expect us here, said Ta. They think we're trapped in our own solar system. This is our chance. He turned to his weapons officer. Target their defense ships first, then the shipyard itself. Tell all ships to attack on my command. The human fleet moved forward, still unnoticed by the Coalition forces. Fire, ordered Ta. All 20 human ships fired at once. Beams of energy cut through space, hitting the unprepared Coalition defense ships. 3 exploded immediately. The others tried to return fire, but they were caught by surprise. Second volley, said Ta. Keep firing. The human ships fired again and again. The Coalition defense ships fought back, but they were outnumbered and unprepared. Sir, enemy ships are disabled or destroyed, reported the weapons officer. The shipyard is defenseless. Ta nodded. Now we send our message. All ships, target the shipyard. Fire at will. The human fleet turned their weapons on the shipyard. Metal melted and broke apart. Half-built ships exploded. Within minutes, the entire facility was destroyed. Open a broadcast channel, said Ta. I want every Coalition world to hear this. When the channel was open, Ta spoke clearly. This is Captain Ta Kim of the Earth Defense Force. You attacked our civilians. You threatened our existence. We warned you. This is your final chance to end this war. The next target will be your homeworld. On the Coalition homeworld, Commander Vex watched the broadcast with disbelief. How did they get to Proxima Centauri? He demanded. They don't have FTL technology. But the evidence was clear on the screens before him. The humans had destroyed their largest shipyard. Without it, the Coalition couldn't replace ships lost in battle. Vex's eyes narrowed. They think this will make us surrender. It will only make us fight harder. He turned to his officers. Send all remaining fleets to Earth. Sterilize the planet completely. Leave nothing alive. Back on the Avenger Asterisk, Tai received a transmission from Earth. It was Admiral Han. Well done, Captain, said the Admiral. But our work isn't finished. Our sensors show the Coalition is gathering all their remaining ships for one final attack on Earth. They're coming with everything they have. We'll return immediately, said Ta. No, said Admiral Han. Your fleet needs to hit their fuel depot in the Sirius system first. Without fuel, half their fleet will be stranded. Ta nodded. Understood, sir. And then? Then you come home, said Admiral Han, for the final battle. As the Avenger Asterisk prepared for its next jump, Ta looked at the stars. Humans had reached them at last. But would there be any humans left to explore them when this war was over? Set course for Sirius, he ordered. We have one more job to do before we go home. Sun Li stood in the Earth Defense Command Center, watching the big screen on the wall. Hundreds of red dots moved toward Earth. Each dot was a Coalition ship. How many? She asked. 532 ships, answered Jin Su. But thanks to Captain Kim's attack on their fuel depot, about 200 are moving very slowly. They won't reach us for days. Sun nodded. She had been named Admiral after Han was injured in a recent attack. Now she was in charge of Earth's defense. And our forces? She asked. 120 ships in space, said Jin, plus the moon bases, Mars drones, and orbital platforms. The numbers were not good. Even with some Coalition ships slowed down, the enemy still had more than twice as many ships. They're desperate, said Sun. They know they can't replace their losses anymore. This is their last chance to beat us. She turned to her communications officer. Send a message to all Earth ships and bases. Tell them this is it, the final battle. We either win today or there won't be a tomorrow. In space, Ta Kim's fleet had just returned from the Sirius system. His ships were damaged and his crews were tired, but they were ready to fight again. "Take position near the moon," ordered Sun. "Let the Coalition come to us." The Coalition fleet entered the solar system like a dark cloud. They moved straight for Earth, ignoring other targets. "They're not splitting up this time," said Ty over the comm. "They're going all in for Earth." "That's what we expected," said Sun. "Get ready." Earth's defense fleet formed a protective ring around the planet. The moon bases powered up their weapons. Mars sent its swarm of drone fighters. Everyone was ready. Commander Vex led the Coalition fleet himself. No mercy, he told his ships. Destroy everything. The Coalition fired first. Thousands of energy beams cut through space toward Earth. They hit the planet's shields, which glowed bright blue as they absorbed the energy. "Shields holding at 85%, reported an officer. "Power systems are converting the energy, just like Dr. Park designed." "Return fire," ordered Sun. Earth's ships and bases fired back. The space between Earth and the Coalition fleet lit up with beams, missiles, and explosions. The battle was fierce. Coalition ships pushed forward, trying to break through Earth's defenses. Human ships fought back, using the tactics they had learned in earlier battles. Hours passed. Both sides lost ships. The sky above Earth was filled with explosions that looked like new stars being born and dying. "Shields down to 40%, reported an officer. "We can't take much more of this." Sun looked at the tactical display. The Coalition still had more ships, but they were getting closer to Earth. Too close. "Send in the civilians," she ordered. This was their secret plan. Thousands of small civilian ships launched from Earth. They weren't armed with weapons, but they had shields and engines. They swarmed among the Coalition fleet, blocking their view and getting in the way of their weapons. Coalition ships tried to avoid hitting the small vessels, slowing their attack. This gave Earth's military ships the chance to target the larger Coalition vessels one by one. On his ship, Vex screamed in rage. "Ignore those small ships. Fire through them, if you must." But his officers hesitated. Some Coalition species had strict rules against killing civilians. The attack lost its momentum. Meanwhile, Joan Park activated his newest invention. From bases around Earth, special pulse weapons fired invisible beams at the Coalition ships. "What's happening?" demanded Vex as his ship's weapons stopped working. "Why can't we fire?" One by one, the Coalition ships lost power to their weapons. They could still move and defend, but they couldn't attack. "Pull back," ordered Vex. "Retreat and regroup." But it was too late. Earth's ships surrounded the now defenseless Coalition fleet. The battle had turned. "Commander Vex," said Sun over an open channel, "your ships are disabled. Your fleet is surrounded. Surrender now or be destroyed." Vex's answer was to ram his ship toward Earth in a suicide run. Earth's defenses fired and destroyed his ship before it got close. Without their leader, the Coalition fleet surrendered. The final battle was over. Earth had won. 6 months passed since the final battle. Earth had changed. Buildings damaged in the war were being fixed. New ships were being built. People looked to the stars not with fear, but with hope. Ta Kim, now Admiral Kim, stood on the bridge of Earth's newest and largest ship, the Unity Asterisk. It was twice as big as any ship humans had built before. Its engines could cross the galaxy in weeks. Its weapons could destroy a moon. But today, it was on a mission of peace. "All systems ready," Admiral said, his second-in-command. "We can jump to the Coalition homeworld whenever you give the order." Ta nodded. "Let's make history again." The ship jumped, its new FTL drive making the journey in just hours. When they arrived, a dozen Coalition ships moved to block their path. "They're hailing us, sir," said the communications officer. "Put them through," said Ta. A Vosh face appeared on the screen. "Human ship, you are not welcome here. Leave at once." Ta smiled. "We come in peace, to negotiate the terms of your surrender. We know the location of every Coalition world and shipyard. We can destroy them all, or we can talk." The Vosh hesitated, then nodded. Follow our escort to the meeting coordinates. On the Coalition homeworld, the council chamber was filled with representatives from all 12 alien species. They watched with a mix of fear and anger as Ta Kim and Sun Li walked in, followed by a team of human diplomats. "You dare to come here?" asked one council member, "after destroying our fleets and shipyards." "We come to offer peace," said Sun. "A real peace, not the false one you tried to force on us." She stepped forward and laid out humans' terms. The Coalition will recognize Earth and all human colonies as sovereign territory. Reparations will be paid for civilian casualties, and humanity will take its rightful place in galactic governance. The council erupted in angry shouts. "Silence," yelled the head council member, a tall blue alien. When the room quieted, he looked at Sun. "Why should we agree to this? You may have won a battle, but the Coalition spans thousands of worlds. We could rebuild and crush you." Ta smiled. "Show them, please." A human technician pressed a button. Above the council table, a hologram appeared. It showed images of Coalition military bases on 20 different worlds. Then it showed human ships in orbit around those worlds, undetected. "Right now," said Tai, "human ships are watching every major Coalition base and city. We could have destroyed them all. Instead, we came to talk." The council members looked at each other in shock. Humans had the ability to reach any Coalition world at any time, completely undetected. "How is this possible?" asked the blue alien. "Our sensors would have detected your ships." "Not anymore," said Sun. "Our technology has evolved. This is the new reality. You can accept it and live in peace with us, or—" She didn't need to finish the threat. The council asked for time to discuss. The humans waited outside. 3 hours later, they were called back in. "We accept your terms," said the head council member. "The Coalition recognizes Earth as sovereign. We will pay reparations." And he hesitated. "We will welcome humans as equals in galactic affairs." 1 year later, Sun Li stood in the new human embassy on the Coalition capital world. Through the window, she could see aliens and humans walking together in the streets below. It wasn't perfect. There was still fear and distrust on both sides. But it was a start. Jun Park entered the room. The scientist looked rested for the first time in years. "The new trade agreement is working well," he said. "We're learning so much from sharing knowledge rather than fighting." Sun nodded. "Who would have thought that our greatest victory would come not from winning the war, but from making a better peace?" On Earth, Admiral Han looked at the stars from his home. His injuries from the war had healed, but he had chosen to retire. He thought about everything humans had gone through. "We warned them," he said softly to himself. "They didn't listen. It led to war. But in the end, we found something better than victory. We found respect." Across the galaxy, a new order was taking shape. The Coalition was becoming a true alliance of equals. And humanity, once dismissed as primitive and aggressive, was now recognized for what it truly was: determined, creative, and, above all, unwilling to surrender its freedom at any cost. The message was clear to all who would hear it. Beware the humans. They'd prefer peace, but if forced to war, they will not rest until they win. And when they win, they will change everything.